the film industry in India has been a majorly male dominated industry. Hi guys, this is Neeta Bhasin show. Please like and subscribe to this channel.
Priyanka Ghose, welcome to Neeta Bhasin show.
Hi, glad to be here. I'm so honored that you decided to have me here.
Priyanka, you're in the news these days for not
Mhm.
knowing who is Sidharth Shukla, the winner of Big Boss 13.
I am really embarrassed about this thing of not having watched Siddharth on the Big Boss. I mean, I used to keep telling Sid and I used to apologize to him all the time because, he's this popular and everyone knows him. People seem to know him like in and out because they watched him in the Big Boss house, right? So they've seen him as himself. But I did not watch Big Boss, unfortunately, and I also did not watch any of his previous work. So it's a very embarrassing question you asked me that I'm in the news for the watch this stuff. But in a way, I am glad that I didn't, and I actually stopped myself from doing so. Not Big Boss as much as his other fiction work. I didn't want to check him out as an actor in any of the other films or shows that he had done, because that automatically puts a notion in your head, about a person, and you automatically start picturizing him or visualizing him in a certain way. And especially in Big Boss, I'm guessing because he was his true, honest self, you would get to know him a lot more. But I decided to just stay away from it and meet him upfront in person and sort of draw my own conclusions. So, yeah.
We would like to know who is Priyanka Ghose. I would like you to introduce us to Priyanka Ghose.
So I am born and raised in Calcutta. I came to Bombay at the age of 21 in 2006, and that was just after I had finished my graduation and I started pursuing my master's degree. I actually have degrees in economics, nothing to do with filmmaking, do such. And I was always into performing arts myself. I used to do a lot of theater as an actor. I was also dancing professionally. I was heavily into sports. So I had a whole bunch of things that I used to pursue. But I think it was when I started pursuing theater that I started loving the art of storytelling. And I did not only want to do theater, I wanted to get into the movies. And I was always very, very attracted to filmmaking. So, not acting as much. I was always very attracted to becoming a storyteller, becoming a director. At the time, of course, at such a young age, I didn't know if I wanted to be a director or a producer or, whatever. I came to Bombay just after I had done a short stint as a production assistant, as an internship, when Meera Nair had come to Calcutta to shoot her film, The Namesake. So that was really my first exposure on a film set, and I really tried to understand how things work. And once I came to Bombay, luckily through word of mouth, a lot of recommendations here and there, I managed to become an assistant director. And I started working in various Bollywood feature films where I was an assistant director.
Can you name
And
can you name
yes,
some?
I worked with Sidharth Anand on Anjana Anjani. I assisted his director called Shamim Desai for his film Rush with Imran Hashmi and Neha Dupia. Then I worked on Himesh Reshammiya's film called Kurz, which was directed by Satish Kaushik. So a bunch of different kinds of films, different genres. So yeah, there were a whole bunch of projects I worked on. I had become a first assistant director. I was freelancing. But I think what happened is while doing that, you sort of understand how to handle a production, you understand how to handle a crew. But I think the creative bug in me was always alive, and I always want to make my own films. And slowly, I automatically started getting offers to produce before I got offers to direct. So, in the industry, there are a lot of freelance producers. So, I started getting offers to be freelance producers to a bunch of filmmakers, and I was mainly doing ad films at the time. That's when I started to work a lot with Mr. Ram Madhvani at his production house, Equinox Films. He is the one who then later went on to direct Nirja and then Arya and all of this content. So I was working with him quite a bit. So about 6 years ago, Ram and his producer Manoj, they thought that I have potential as a director, and they offered me an in-house position in the company as an ad film director. So 6 years ago, I turned the director. I started directing ad films. I loved it, and I still do. I love that format of storytelling where you are trying to tell a story in like 30 seconds or 60 seconds. It's a lot of fun. It's very, very challenging. But I think I all along dreamt and always wanted to get into long formats, be it films, be it web series. And luckily, in the last 4 5 years, India has seen a huge increase in the number of OTT platforms, in the kind of content that's getting made. So I think I happen to be at the right place at the right time. And when Ram was making Arya season one, they had other directors on board. There was Sandeep, there was Vinod Rawat, and they asked me to come on board as an associate director. And that happened last year. When that got done, I also got a chance to direct a few sequences in the show. And when that got done, Broken but Beautiful season three came my way. One of the producers knew me from before, he's a friend. So he knows that I was directing for Equinox and he had been following my work. So he thought I would be the right fit. And they approached me. I heard the overall story and it resonated with me. And then, yeah, I jumped into it. And the kind of person that I am is because I don't know. I come from a Bengali family. It's very academically oriented, heavy on literature and culture. So that's been my upbringing with a lot of movies and music and literature and art and all of that. So I think there was always a love for the arts, and I'm just really glad that I have a family who's been super supportive and has been okay with me pursuing these dreams. And it's still an ongoing journey. So yeah.
What is something about Priyanka that is very particular that only your friends know about it?
I get bored of things very easily. So I try to learn a new thing every now and then. So if even if it means that one morning I'll wake up and go like, okay, today I want to learn Spanish. That happens to me a lot. And recently, last week, I decided to start learning capoeira, the martial art form. So I said, let's do this. So yeah, I'm one of those people who can't sit idle. I'm very restless.
You were convinced from this web series story, Broken but Beautiful.
Yeah.
Was the story, was the script, or was the cast convinced you to take this project?
Hmm.
Or it was that it is an opportunity for you to be
Yeah.
a debut directorial role you played in this serial?
I mean, a bit of both. I'd be lying if I said that that wasn't an incentive. Of course, there was an incentive to be able to make my debut in web series. But at the same time, I do not think I would have just said yes to any project because, when you're making your debut, you need to be so careful with what you're picking. And, that sort of makes, your first impression last for a while. So yes, it was. We didn't have a script at the time when they approached me. They had just a rough sort of concept of what they wanted in the story. So even a very elaborate story wasn't there. But I think what drew me to it was the underlying theme. There's one theme in the show. If you ever get to watch it, you'll know. It talks a lot about self love. It talks about how empowering it feels to fall out of love than in it. And it talks about how tumhara pyar kafi hai, tum kafi ho. And that as a thought in itself resonated a lot with me.
Now you're sitting on the chair of the director.
Yeah,
I know you have much more responsibilities on your shoulder now than
yeah,
before.
yeah.
I would like to hear from you. How is this role of yours is different from your previous roles?
on Arya, being an associate director, the pressures were very different. I was sort of executing the vision of the director on set, and at times maybe going and shooting the second unit by myself. And it almost felt very organic. It didn't feel shocking or surprising, and it didn't feel like I was taking on too much. It felt like this is what I was always meant to do. So
Priyanka, what, in your opinion, is the most important quality of film director?
there cannot be one. That's why you are the director. There has to be so many. You are like an all encompassing eye, heart, soul of the content that you put out there. The reason why people say that the one person who knows everything that there is to a film is the director. And that's because you cannot possibly just have one quality. I think it has to be an amalgamation of a whole bunch of things that come together. And truly be a visionary and be able to sort of imagine it all and know how to put it all together. I think that's very important. You need to have an imagination where you should be able to tell everybody in your team what's to be done in order for it to come together in a way that it will be received well, and it should leave that feeling that you want to feel when you watch.
This industry is man dominated industry. Is it true?
So yes, Nita, our industry, the film industry in India has been a majorly male-dominated industry, but I've seen a huge change over the last few years of working here, for 14, 15 years. I mean, when I started out as an assistant on a film set, sometimes I used to be the only girl other than the other male actresses. Maybe sometimes a costume stylist or a hair stylist or a makeup artist or someone would be a girl. But the behind the camera crew were very limited to being guys who would be the team. So that used to be the case back in 2006, 2005, 7. And then up to now, I see so many more women